Tonight on Joy News Prime, Ghana announces yet another confirmed case of COVID-19, bringing the total number of cases to 7. We'll bring you what the authorities have shared about this 7th case. The finance minister has meanwhile told Parliament government is projecting a shortfall in revenue as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The preliminary analysis undertaken by the ministry shows that the coronavirus will impact negatively on petroleum receipts.
The minority is, however, demanding further and better particulars. Ghana begins to turn away passengers arriving from COVID-endemic countries as travel restrictions kick in. We are at the Kotoka International Airport as airlines also announce suspension of flights.
It is estimated, there was a message from our CEO, Mr. Alberts, that 70 to 90% of our flights will be cancelled.
Elsewhere, Malaysia has suspended its major traditional ceremonies over the COVID-19 outbreak as the Accra Metropolitan Assembly also teams up with the police to enforce ban on social gatherings. In business,
and all vessels en route to Ghana except those carrying freight to be prevented from docking as Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority takes measures to contain the COVID-19 spread.
What we are sending out actually today is the cruise ship, the crew vessels. We are suspending crew vessels because they come with a lot of people.
Ghanaian architect cited in CNN documentary over his alleged involvement in the plot to meddle in upcoming elections in the US, charged with money laundering in Ghana. Customers of Electricity Company of Ghana lament lack of information on blackouts in recent days. The Ghana Grid Company blames on gas supply challenges.
We don't see the timetable. All we hear is it's a technical fault and they are fixing it. I just don't get it. It's all lies. Please.
I'm Israel Lion. Joy News Prime comes to you live from the Joy News studio at Kokomlimle here in Accra with digital address GA0992539, where we're celebrating 25 years of fearless journalism in the defense of Ghana's freedom and justice. Stay tuned in. Now, for our first story, Ghana has registered yet another confirmed case of COVID-19. The latest edition posted on the Ghana Health Service website brings to 7 the number of confirmed cases so far. As of March 17, 2020, a total of 143 suspected cases have been tested for COVID-19 by the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research and Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research. Now, this afternoon, that is Tuesday afternoon, we have received report from NMIMR that indicated one more confirmed case as positive for COVID-19 in Greater Accra region. The case patient is a 35-year-old male, a Ghanaian citizen who returned to Accra from France within the past 14 days. This is another imported case, which brings the total number of confirmed cases to 7. The case is being managed in isolation and he is in stable condition. With regard to contact tracing, this is all available on the website of the Ghana Health Service. A total of 350 contacts have been identified and are being followed up. 2 of the contacts who developed symptoms had their samples tested, but they came out to be negative, which is quite significant. Now, currently, there is no death, and all the 7 confirmed COVID-19 cases are being managed in isolation and are in stable condition. Now, moving on, or in another related development, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says government is anticipating significant shortfalls in its revenue projections this year as a result of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Though he didn't put a figure to it, he told Parliament on Tuesday that petroleum revenue, tourism, and foreign direct investment will be affected. According to Mr. Ofori-Atta, government will turn to the Stabilization Fund as well as support from the World Bank and other sources to fill the anticipated funding gap. Now, we know that the minority has been reacting to that. But let's hear the Finance Minister first.
of the coronavirus are still unfolding. Preliminary analysis undertaken by the ministry shows that the coronavirus will impact negatively on petroleum receipts due to the collapse of international crude oil prices, customs receipts, other receipts, expenditures, especially health-related, and financing conditions on the fiscal fronts. More generally, it is affecting tourism, hotels, travel, and conferences, FDI, international trade, food and nutrition, and poverty reduction programs. Mr. Speaker, measures are being put in place to close a possible financing gap in the 2020 budget that could result from the impact of the coronavirus. These measures may include withdrawal from the Ghana Stabilization Fund occasioned by anticipated shortfalls in the ABFA. We'll come to this August House to seek for the necessary approvals when it's necessary in due course. We are currently in discussion with the World Bank to tap into a $12 billion World Bank Group fast-track COVID-19 facility to help close the financing gap. In addition, we are discussing with the IMF to access part of a $10 billion facility made available by the IMF to address coronavirus through the Rapid Credit Facility. We are also discussing with other multilateral and bilateral partners on potential assistance to close the financing gap. But Mr. Speaker, even in the difficult global circumstances, Ghana is blessed. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House granted approval to raise $3 billion from the Eurobond market for 2020. The ministry worked tirelessly and successfully raised $3 billion at the best rates in our history. Mr. Speaker, the capital market has since collapsed, and we thank God for his guiding presence for the timely issuance of our Eurobond, which has provided the necessary buffers to support the economy in these grave times. Mr. Speaker, we continue to believe that our land will indeed be healed. We are confident that with our President's vision and leadership, as well as our discipline as a nation and God's guiding hands, He shall spare us and prosper us even in these trying times. Mr. Speaker, on the update on the financial sector cleanup, in December 20...
Minority Leader Haruna Iddrisu is demanding details of the $100 million the President says will be used to fight COVID-19.
But Mr. Speaker, whilst we are doing that, we have a duty to remind the Minister for Finance to provide answers. Why is conspicuously lost in your statement the state of the $100 million US? We want to know whether you have committed the money as was directed by the President and for what purpose. What will the $100 million US be used for? Because you are aware that the WHO have assessed Ghana in their assessment which was published. They said case management 0%, our preparedness, rapid response 30%, PPEs were doing well in terms of 30%, and they positioned Noguchi and the Kumasi Research Institute as being capable. So we are demanding from you, where is the $100 million US and for what purpose? What is it dedicated for? We need to know as a country. Because even as we speak, major hospitals have no water supply, particularly in the Tema area and many other areas around Pram Pram. When you say they should wash their hands with what water? And what are you providing for purpose that they will be able to keep themselves clean and clean themselves away from the hazards and threats of coronavirus?
Well, the minority is still making some other demands. They are not satisfied with the funding gap announcement made by the finance minister in Parliament today, and they are asking for further and better particulars. Keselato Forcing, it speaks for the minority.
Then the issue relating to the statement that he's made. Let me say that clearly we all know that this global pandemic has a negative impact on the affairs of our country, not only Ghana, but the African economy and then the world economy. Not long ago, I read a Bloomberg article from Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs saying that the global economy is expected to be in a recession. Just a minute ago, clearly this is not a good news. They are worrying signs. And the minister appearing before us only presented a fiscal impact assessment of what is happening. I think that is too narrow. It is not acceptable of a Minister of Finance. He should go beyond the fiscal and give us the general impact on the economy. You agree with me that the economy is of two components. The fiscal is one component of the economy. The monetary is another component. The external is another component, and the real sector is another component. So these four come together, gives you the economy of Ghana. He has only given us one leg out of the four. That will not present us the full picture of what is happening. So what he presented to us is very little and too narrow. We cannot base on this and take a decision or advise properly. Yes, he agrees with me, and they said they are going to come before us. On the issue of fuel prices, if you are to look at it from the fiscal point of view, you would think that it is a bad news. But probably if you are to look at it from the monetary level, it may be a good news because you are not derailing or actually taking money from your reserves to buy petroleum products. Okay? So that may be a good news. From the real sector, businesses expect to have low fuel costs to run business and make more profit. So it may be a positive news from that side. So it is important for us to assess that from that angle and not only to look at it from the narrow view of the fiscal. That would be a mistake. I perfectly agree that when you come to even inflation, low fuel costs may drive inflation down. And so it is wrong for you to come to us and paint a picture that because the fuel prices are coming down, the fiscal is going to suffer, so the economy is in distress. We want to see the full picture of what is actually going to happen in the economy. And that is what I asked the minister responsible for finance to provide us.
Well, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has ordered communities in Accra to suspend all major social and traditional ceremonies, including naming ceremonies, as part of precautionary measures against the spread of COVID-19. The Assembly, which has issued a 6-point directive to its constituents and has also promised to strictly monitor the situation to ensure compliance and ultimately win the fight against the deadly virus. Mayor of Accra, Ni Ejeso, has been speaking with Latif Idris.
We have over 150 public places of convenience where people attend nature's call. We've written letters to the owners of the public places of convenience to, first of all, provide hand washing buckets, popularly called Verona buckets, and put water into it, and then a soap, so that people who patronize the public places of convenience, either you are entering or you are exiting, will also wash your hands. So hygiene is very important.
We spoke about the marketplace earlier. I want to take you back there. What we've identified is that a lot of people, a lot of traders, not just in the markets, in the supermarkets, have inflated prices of this hand sanitizers. It has become a commodity that is being in high demand, so the prices are now being inflated. You used to buy it for 30 cedis, now you go and it's hovering around 65 cedis. What is the Assembly's position on this sad development? At the time when we need to help each other, people are now trying to take advantage and rather do people in.
Well, I think that it is a very bad habit that we had cultivated to make money out of a pandemic situation. This is a matter that at the highest level is being considered, and we will be awaiting for further direction, because it's not restricted to my assembly. It's a national problem, and it's been identified everywhere. In fact, for us, even at the assembly, it took us time, more than 24 hours before we were able to procure a lot of the hand sanitizers.
Let me read to you one of your bullet points, and then I'll come back to you for your response. In your bullet number 5, you said drivers should endeavor to disinfect their vehicle, into brackets, seat, door handle, using the bleach solution, that is Parazone, and provide hand washing facilities. That's Veronica Buckets, liquid soaps, hand sanitizers. Realistically, Mayor, looking at how stations are organized, would you say these drivers, these commercial drivers, would comply with this directive that you have issued?
First of all, I am very optimistic person, and we are not in normal times. Look, what is happening around the world, if we don't step up and confront the issue, it will eradicate us. So this is not the kind of issues where you have an option whether I can do or won't do. People who do social programs and even block roads in places like Kolegono, Choko, Bubuashi, Bukom, Jamestown, and all these communities, we are asking them to henceforth stop, because we just finished the second day meeting with the police and then the public health directorate, that they are on the lookout on some of these things, because we don't want you to use your occasion and put the rest of the general public at risk.
Sorry, what occasion did you mention?
Outdoorings, funerals, it's a usual thing that happens within our community.
Well, elsewhere, Menchia Palace has also suspended its major traditional ceremonies over the COVID-19 outbreak. We'll be bringing you that story. And then Ghana is also beginning to turn away passengers arriving from COVID-endemic countries as travel restrictions kick in. We'll be bringing you an update from the Kotoka International Airport, where some airlines are also announcing the suspension of flights.
It is estimated, there was a message from our CEO, Mr. Alberts, that 70 to 90% of our flights will be cancelled.
Stay tuned in, we'll be back with you in a bit. Welcome back to Joy News Prime, and just by way of update, our very top story for this evening, Ghana has registered yet another confirmed case of COVID-19. The latest addition posted on the Ghana Health Service website brings to 7 the number of confirmed cases so far. Now, as of March 17, a total of 143 suspected cases have been tested for COVID-19 by the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research and the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research. So the current case that we're looking at is a 35-year-old male, a Ghanaian citizen who returned to Accra from France within the past 14 days. And we have some more updates for you as far as the COVID-19 outbreak is concerned, but in other news, many parts of the country were left without electricity for most of Monday and the early hours of Tuesday, in what the Ghana Grid Company is blaming on challenges with gas supply to some of the country's thermal plants. Except for a statement put out by the Electricity Company of Ghana blaming Gridco, most customers were left in the dark. Well, Gridco has been explaining what caused the outages, which we will share with you shortly. We have, however, been speaking with some residents of Mataheko and Dansoman here in Accra who have been lamenting the lack of information as to what the problem was. Nancy Emefajradozi has more.
I am at Mataheko in Accra.
I'm a graphic designer stroke photographer.
I have visited Wisdom, the operator of this mini publishing house. He laments that for some days now, he has made no money. The reason is simple: light out.
Yesterday like this, I was here throughout. A lot of people are patronage coming here to do photocopy, to do some work, to do some designing and others. But when they came, there was no light.
He says he now has to rely on God for survival.
When it booms very well, sometimes I can get about 100 Ghana plus. But yesterday, for instance, zero, nothing.
So how did you survive? What are you doing to make up for that money?
For me, I believe in God and I trust in God that it is God that provides.
This situation has not only affected Wisdom. Madam Vero, who is a seamstress, is also feeling the pinch of power outage. She showed us pieces of cloth that her customer expects designed by the end of this week.
Kamanya cry, manya profit crank at 300 cities there. At least I say me Timinia de Kofi and I mean between me to us. Sorry.
I usually make 300 Ghana cedis a week, but this week has been very difficult. I have made nothing because I haven't been able to complete any of the clothes required of me. Aside from her inability to make money out of the sewing business, she's also losing out on her sale of carbonated drinks. The light only came at 10 p.m. last night. People have been here to buy drinks, but they turn away because they are not chilled. Dulces has been operating this beauty salon for years. This business, she says, is her only source of income. Today, she sits in the office wearing a sad face. Dulces says she has spent all the profit to fuel her generator.
Because I thought this doomso thing has stopped, but indirectly, I don't know. I think it's still there. Maybe they are not telling us the truth.
Do you have enough fuel just in case they take apart today?
Today, I don't have enough fuel. I have to buy fuel because the previous days that they've taken it off, all my fuel is gone. So I have to buy fuel again today. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad because imagine you coming to work and you expect to get something home, and at the end of the day, you use the money for fuel and everything, and you go back home with nothing. You have kids at home who are depending on you to feed them and all that, and this whole thing is just too much. Yeah.
Her story is not different from Musa, the owner of this barber shop. His wife has just delivered a baby girl. That should bring him so much joy. But Musa maintains that he is unhappy. In the past few days, he has been unable to work because of frequent long power outages. This means no money to feed and cater for his wife and baby.
Oh, but about 3 days in the light and fun.
The past 3 days, we have been in darkness. The whole of yesterday, we didn't have light. It only came this dawn. I've only made 50 Ghana cedis for the entire 3 days.
This past 3 days, make us say, we say 50 Ghana. 3 days.
78-year-old Long John Parry is angry. He is calling on government to be bold and confirm if power crisis is back.
We don't see the timetable. All we hear is it's technical fault and they are fixing it. I just don't get it. You see, so we are in a state of not telling the truth to the citizens. It's all lies. Please, look.
Right, so I want to share with you a statement from the Ghana Grid Company on the power outages that have been experienced in recent days. It says the Ghana Grid Company wishes to inform the general public that on Monday, March 16, 2020, the West Africa Gas Pipeline WAPCO undertook a scheduled performance test on the new regulating and metering gas station in Tema. This led to limited gas supply to power plants in the Tema enclave. Additionally, some plants in the Abuazi enclave also experienced gas flow challenges, making them unable to generate power. These two incidents led to disruptions in available generation, resulting in prolonged power outages in parts of the country yesterday. Subsequently, the gas challenges were resolved and power was restored to all affected bulk supply points on Tuesday, March 17, 2020. And it goes on to conclude that we want to urge Ghanaians to take note of our social media platforms at Gridco, GH Gridco for Twitter and Facebook.com/Gridco for regular updates and information. The minority in Parliament is meanwhile demanding the government immediately fix its water and electricity challenges facing the country if it's serious about preventing a spread of the coronavirus. Former Deputy Minister for Water Resources Samson, he wants a Ghana Water Company to immediately open the Teshi Water desalination plant to bring in 60,000 cubic meters of water daily to normalize supply. He warns lack of water could make curbing spread of the virus impossible.
We have water challenges in the major cities, particularly Tema and Accra. Every morning we see people carrying buckets going around looking for water. Now we have a facility in Teshi desalination plant that can augment whatever volumes of water that we have available today. 60,000 cubic of water sitting down there. And the argument is that it is expensive to run it. Now, in the event or with the outbreak of this coronavirus, where we are being called to wash our hands after visiting any public facility, which means the water demand for water will go up. And so there's no reason why the government will allow that facility sitting down there, why people struggle to get water. We are even competing water, struggling to get water for domestic use.
And this is going to add how many cubic meters?
60,000 cubic meters on daily basis. So I think that, and then number two, I'm calling on government to release water rationing timetable. Government continue to deceive Ghanaians, and for that matter, people living in Tema and Accra, as if everything is okay. When the citizens know that we have problems with water, government should release water rationing timetable so that people will be informed, so that people can plan their lives. People will know when water will run through their taps, so that it can help them to collect water anytime water is running through their taps. But government silent on it, pretending as if all things are okay, it is so deceptive. And so government should release water rationing timetable. And then we also, all these things are as a result of lack of investment into the water sector since this government has assumed office.
Well, ranking member on Parliament's Energy Committee, Adams Mutawakilu, wants government to publish a timetable on the power outages, insisting it's not a one-off problem.
Dumso is at its peak today. They put lights off and on at any time they want, without notice. And that is why I'm calling on the president that he should officialize the Dumso and come out with a timetable so that we know that this evening I have no light. I make adequate arrangements.
PIFCO says they are fixing it all by 11 a.m. today. They had system challenges that
they've always given reasons. Please, shall I start giving you excuses? When we had a total breakdown, that was in 2018, November, the minister came out and said we should give him 5 days and there will be no Dumso. Early 2019, he said because of the bulk supply point at Pokwasi, when that one is done, we are out of Dumso. And we've continuously experienced. The problem is a system lack of investment in our transmission systems. They are not able to maintain the equipment.
In the interim, how can all of these be dealt with so the lights are back on? You think
settled Greco, but come out with a timetable so that officially we know we are in Dumso. If I'm going home and I will not have light, I'll iron my things in the morning, so that by evening when I go, I'm at peace. I put off my appliances before the lights go off. But whereby unannounced, it goes off and on, you know the resultant effect, productivity will suffer.
We're taking a break here on Joyce Prime to bring you business, but still ahead we have some more COVID-19 outbreaks to share, updates to share with you. We'll be going to the Kotoka International Airport, where Ghana is beginning to turn away passengers arriving from COVID-endemic countries. Or countries where it deems that COVID endemic as travel restrictions kick in.
Any airline that showed up after 1300 hours this afternoon, the non-Ghanaians or people without Ghanaian permanent residency were turned back.
And then the Ghanaian architect cited in the CNN documentary over his alleged involvement in the plot to meddle in upcoming elections in the U.S. has been charged with money laundering in Ghana. Business News is next. It's time for business, and Sandra Fenu has joined me. And Sandra,
a world full of coronavirus.
Coronavirus stories all over the place.
Everywhere, from
impacting everything.
Every single thing.
All right, it's okay.
Well, we're celebrating 25 years of joy. My name is Sandra Sinamap and I'm here for business. And the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA, has with immediate effect suspended all cruise ships and other vessels heading to Ghana. This is one of the measures by the GPHA to control the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. General Manager, Marketing and Corporate Affairs at the GPHA, Esther J.B. Donko, told Joy Business the directive has been communicated to all stakeholders at the country's ports.
With immediate effect, all vessels coming to Ghana, except cargo vessels, will have to return to the port of sale. The temporal suspension, according to the head of corporate affairs at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Esther Donko, move will help control a further spread of the COVID-19.
For the vessel, we can say that what we have, we are sending out actually today is the cruise ship. The crew vessels, we are suspending crew vessels because they come with a lot of people, and then normally they have to be buzzed by travel and tour agencies to go to various sites. So we are suspending the crew vessels. As for the cargo vessels, we have not taken any action on their suspension yet. What we are doing with them is what I said. They are quarantine and encouraged with Then, apart from the vessel part, we are also suspending tours to our port. We have a lot of school children and organizations and clubs and associations visiting our port on daily basis. There are so many. So with immediate effect, we have also suspended those kind of tours to our port.
She also highlighted measures being employed by the authority to prevent suspected cargo vessels from entering the port.
All the vessels coming, we have the quarantine anchorage, where you will not come into port proper. You'll be at anchorage for the necessary checks to be done before.
Is it a dedicated anchorage
area? Yes. It's a dedicated anchorage area.
And it's purposely for the virus kind of.
Yes, it wasn't built purposely because we couldn't have built a different anchorage here, but we have segmented an area. We put them there. We do everything, and then before we are okay, then the vessel can come to port. There's nothing that you were doing, but just that the vessel there will be isolated. We clear you before the next one comes to.
Meanwhile, trading at the ports is expected to decline as a result of the outbreak of COVID-19.
Meanwhile, the Association of Oil Marketing Companies says aviation fuel has been badly hit as airlines begin to cancel flights. CEO of the association, Kweku Ajimandria, told Odilia Ntiamwa, Ghana as an aviation fuel hub has already started feeling the pinch.
Our industry really going to suffer, apart from the hospitality industry, which normally consume fuel a lot with the tourists coming here. The other side of it is the aviation fuel that we supply. It's going to go drastically down. These aircrafts, about 40 to 45% of their cost is on aviation fuel. Now, if you are coming to Ghana with a capacity side of 300 passengers and you're coming with 80 or less or canceling your flights, what it means is that they cannot refuel in Ghana. And that becomes a concern to us. Because over the past year, aviation fuel has been going up. In fact, it was gradually becoming a hub for refueling. It used to be Senegal. They would beat them to it. Nigeria came in, they couldn't stand. So this West Africa area, Kotoka has been a refuel point. And now if you're going to have this issue, it's going to really affect us. We hope it doesn't really go on for a long haul. If it's a short-term fine, we can deal with it. It goes a long haul. It means all the investment we have made in aviation, it's huge investment we made in aviation fuel. See the depots we have there, it's all going to go to naught. Because the domestic travels is not that much. We don't pick that much for domestic. But normally the international flights we tend to consume a lot of aviation fuel. So it will be a great concern to us.
And still on the coronavirus, panic buying of hand sanitizers has resulted in a shortage of the product amid the coronavirus outbreak. From pharmacies to retail outlets, alcohol-based wraps are now in high demand, leading to price fixing and profiteering. Checks at some pharmacies show hand sanitizers previously sold for 5 cedis are shot up to 15 and at some places 20 cedis. Charles Haite has more on this development.
So in the wake of the coronavirus here in Ghana, so many Ghanaians are rushing in for one essential commodity, which is hand sanitizers. We've seen it at various pharmacies, shelves being cleared on a daily basis. Even this morning, authorities of PZ Cussons hit the streets to give out these hand sanitizers to road users. And you wouldn't believe, it all ran out in 30 minutes. So how is the company dealing with this scramble for hand sanitizers, and what measures are they putting in place to raise the public awareness in the wake of panic and uncertainty? Amid concerns over panic buying and price hikes of hand sanitizers and other sanitary products, there are also some concerns about possible regulation to rationalize pricing in emergency situations. Responding to this development, Head of Brand Development and Activation for PZ Cussons, Hafsa Ramantha Arthur, told Joy Business the retail market is unregulated, hence this disturbing development.
So when it comes to pricing, we provide the retailers with what you call a recommended retail price. Our setup does not mandate us to insist on a retail price. What we need to do then is to allow the consumers as much as possible to get to know the recommended price. That way, when you see someone selling it for twice, thrice, you can challenge. And oftentimes, from what we know, is that when you do challenge people, they back down. And when they back down, you can work with them to put a price.
So when you walk into any pharmacy or any retail shop to get this particular, hand sanitizer for yourself, it's going for 4 cedis, 50 pesos, the retail price, and PZ Cussons. But unfortunately, due to the shortage of these hand sanitizers, our checks show that you could even get this for as high as even 20 Ghana cedis, if not 15 Ghana cedis. That's if you're lucky. This is a stark reality on the ground, and we're here with the head of personal care at PZ Cussons to help us understand the impact of this on their business and some piece of advice out there to you watching us on the need not to panic buy.
You don't need to buy 12. You don't need to buy 20. It's not necessary. You need to leave some for your neighbor to also be able to have access to it. That's the only way we can protect each other. And in these times, we need to protect each other and watch out for each other. There's no point you being the only one who is not at risk when everyone surrounding you is at risk.
The shortage and high demand for essential sanitary products in the wake of the coronavirus in Ghana has left some industry players take advantage to increase local production. In a meeting with some captains of the country's pharmaceutical and banking industries, President Akufo-Addo bemoaned the total reliance on foreign-made things across the board.
And what is left with the world now, if not coronavirus? And Ghana's growth rate to decline by 0.3% to 6.2% due to the outbreak of the COVID-19. More details in the Business News Summary.
Growth rate is expected to decline by 0.3% to 6.2% following the impact of the coronavirus. This is against the previous 6.5% forecast for this year. Ratings agency Fitch, according to Class FM Online, says the sharp decline in global oil prices resulting from the failure of OPEC to reach an agreement on additional production cutbacks will undermine growth and export earnings in the region's main oil producers. Government has asked Parliament to waive taxes to the tune of over $10 million to enable the Ministry of Health to purchase materials and equipment for Fly Zipline Ghana Limited. A Daily Guide report says the request is to pave the way for Zipline to deliver emergency health and blood products to public health facilities in the country under the service agreements between the company and the Government of Ghana.
All for business for now. My name is Sandra Esinam Apeno. I'm back after 8 p.m. with more business news updates.
All right, time for Showbiz. Noella is here. Hello, Noella.
Hi, Israel. How are you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm well. I'm okay. So let's begin with John Dumelo, who is shaming individuals who are selling hand sanitizers at hiked prices. You know, he's been...
The actor turned politician.
Yeah, actor turned.
Who's gunning for the Ayawaso West Logan.
You know, he's been sharing hand sanitizers.
Yeah, he seems to be doing quite a bit to try and win over the people.
Yeah, so yeah, my colleague Becky caught up with him, and he's been telling us the motivation behind it, him, you know, sharing this hand sanitizers, but also says we must all involve ourselves in this fight against the coronavirus.
You know, in the midst of all this COVID-19 thing, what I realized was that a lot of people were finding it hard to get access to sanitizers, especially, or most especially in my constituency, which is Ayawaso West. Even if they could find the hand sanitizers, it was incredibly expensive. And so what I decided to do was to buy the hand sanitizers in bulk, break it down into smaller pieces, and just give it out for free to those who need it. And that's what I've been doing for the past, actually since Friday, last week Friday. So now today is Tuesday. We've distributed over 5,000 hand sanitizers for free.
What do you make of vendors who have rapidly increased the price of sanitizers?
Look, I think they always say that that's economics, you know, that when the demand is high, you have to increase the price. But this has to do with us fighting a disease. It's a matter of national interest, and so they shouldn't think that, okay, this is a time to make money out of it. Those who are increasing the prices, I mean, number one, shame on them, and number two, I just hope that the authorities are able to clamp down on these retailers who are increasing their sanitizers.
As Ghanaians, do you think that we're doing enough to curb this coronavirus thing?
I think so far so good. One thing I must say is that, yes, I must commend the government to some extent for, you know, implementing some of the strategies like closing down, you know, all these large gatherings, universities, you know, the schools and so on and so forth, and also denying entry of some citizens of certain, you know, countries from entering into the country. And so, yes, I must commend them for that. But I feel that personally, the government can just do something, but it is left with we, the citizens, to be able to wash our hands properly, use hand sanitizers, avoid certain public gatherings, you know, and just stay at home, you know.
Okay.
All right. So away from that, you know, following government's ban on social gathering, actress Chewa has postponed her wedding, which was supposed to take place this Saturday.
This Saturday?
This Saturday. It was supposed to come on this Saturday. She got married in the U.S. by going to the courts to sign, and she planned a big one here in Ghana, but due to the directive made by government.
Coronavirus.
I'm telling you. So her wedding planner announced the news.
Unfortunately, and she shall babeto dra, bind the abeto dra and say, Yentiminia gathering, nipa near more than 25.
Following the president's directive on social gatherings as part of the measures to curb COVID-19, the wedding cannot come off this Saturday.
And she says, she shall ban say, and ya dear, mameno, our year 21st, Saturday by a bebaso. Yet to asheda until further notice. Saban lifted ban na ye bet shed date na ye date.
We shall announce a new date should government lift the ban.
Buano, senya mo buano no. Ebro ya adwene so, nanso ye hu hwia enye yie. Enti ne yasramwane sa dofo amu free echirichiri ba ebi fi Canada, ebi fi Ghana.
We also apologize to all invited guests.
Be eba. Yes, Ramo say, Niabano, Yentiminya Hushe. We are very, very sorry for any inconveniences this situation we are causing. Yakasamo fan chain na enya abai emra NSC.
All right, so I'm just looking at this. So there's a wedding planner.
Yeah, that's a wedding planner.
Who put together a video.
Yeah, I'm sure she was
a post on social media.
I'm sure she was instructed.
Just to announce that.
Yeah, they've postponed the wedding.
You should have just posted something on her
social. Well, I don't think Chewa is on social media. I don't think. I haven't seen any of the accounts dedicated to her, so I don't know.
Well, this is quite new. I mean, Miss Chewa is quite a celeb.
But away from that, VGMA, Charterhouse, they have postponed their nominees jam, which was supposed to take place on the 4th day of April. And the confusion is a lot of people think they've rather postponed, you know, the main awards night.
Okay.
And so I spoke to Robert Clark, who is the PRO for Charterhouse.
So what we are postponing at the moment is the nominees jam. Clearly, you'd realize that the nominees jam, which was originally scheduled for the 4th of April, actually falls within the 4-week ban period that the president gave. In fact, the president gave a directive on the number of days or the number of weeks for which people should not gather, and then he spelled out the details clearly. I think the maximum number of people for any of the gathering even mentioned was about 25, and clearly we know that on our side we have there are a lot more people we're expecting. So so that particular program has been affected, and if there's any date that's going to come out, it's going to be beyond the 16th of April, because I think that's when the 4 weeks will end. So we will certainly be providing new dates for this, because we are very hopeful and confident that just like any of the pandemics that we experienced in the past, whether SARS or Ebola, we are confident that once again these two shall pass and then life will return to normal. So we will certainly be communicating our dates soon.
All right, so that was PRO for Charterhouse, Robert Clark. Now that's it for Showbiz.
Okay, thank you very much, Anuela, for bringing us Showbiz. And that'll be it for those watching on Joy Prime. But there's more news on the Joy News channel. Stay tuned in. Now, authorities at the Kotoa International Airport have begun turning away passengers arriving in Ghana from countries deemed as COVID-19 endemic. This is in line with the travel advisory announced by the Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah.
All travel to Ghana is at this stage strongly discouraged until further notice. Second, any traveler, except for Ghanaian citizens and persons with Ghana residence permits, who within the last 14 days has been to a country that has recorded at least 200 cases of COVID-19, will not be permitted into the Ghanaian jurisdiction. Airlines are instructed not to allow such persons to embark. Border posts are instructed not to allow such persons into the jurisdiction. 3, there is now going to be a mandatory 14-day self-quarantine for persons who are otherwise allowed to enter the Ghanaian jurisdiction. Guidelines for the self-quarantine will be available at the various Ghanaian ports of entry. Enforcement protocols are being deployed in collaboration with the state security and health authorities.
Well, Sheila Tamaklo just returned from the Kotoa International Airport, where we're learning some flights that arrived with passengers from countries on Ghana's travel advisory have been turned away. And as you'd realize, or as you'd notice, if the measures actually kicking today, effective 1 p.m. today. Now, Sheila, what more can you tell us?
Okay, so for myself, what I witnessed when I arrived,
we were at the arrivals of the Kotoa International Airport,
but something unusual was taking place. You know, is the arrivals. However, we saw some passengers who were departing through this particular place. So I asked what was happening, and we were told these were passengers that had disembarked earlier on. They were not Ghanaians, and they were coming from these endemic regions, for which reason they had been asked to return to the flight from which they came to take off again.
So which flight were they on, for instance?
Well, I cannot tell exactly which one had arrived at that particular time, but we are told that 3 airlines came today. That's Delta, Emirates, and Ethiopian Airlines. And
they had some of these passengers who were turned back.
All right. So how about those Ghanaians who came on, and as the Information Minister indicated, those people will have to self-isolate. What are the arrangements for those people?
Okay, so just as the information minister indicated, the MD actually corroborated that and said that these passengers were actually advised to self-isolate for 14 days. They were also asked to fill some forms and documents so that they could be traced after these 14 days so that they can have checks, regular checks on these people. They were also taken through the regular screening, that is the thermal scanner checks your temperature, and then the thermometer is also used to check your temperatures. And if you don't show any symptoms, then you're allowed into the system. So I actually spoke to the MD and we can hear him.
Any airline that showed up after 1300 hours this afternoon, the non-Ghanaians or people without Ghanaian permanent residency were turned back.
So far, about how many airlines have we had to turn back the passengers?
In total, 3 airlines. We have Emirates, Ethiopian, and Delta.
And altogether, about how many passengers?
I cannot give you the figures, but I know. I think one was on Delta, 13 on Emirates, and I've forgotten the figure on the Ethiopian one. But these are the airlines that came around the time of the ban taking place, and we allowed the directive to work.
Okay. So have the airlines been informed adequately about this directive, and what exactly has been communicated to them?
We communicated the directive to them. We communicated through a NOTAM. A NOTAM is a notice to airmen that informs the airlines that effective this afternoon, 1300, non-Ghanaians and people without permanent residency in Ghana from endemic places. And the endemic places are defined as places with, countries with more than 200 COVID-19 cases registered. So if you come from any country such as that, that person is not allowed into Ghana.
Okay, but then there's a question here that these people who were coming on the flight, possibly there were also Ghanaians on that flight who were admitted into the country. Now, what kind of checks then are we implementing on these other Ghanaians who came in here, because they sat in the plane with people from endemic areas?
Well, before we apply the directive, we have procedures at the airport to screen people for the virus. And I believe last week we took even the president through the terminal building and we demonstrated the process, which is a world-class process. The major, a key determinant of somebody with a virus happens to be temperature. So we screen each and everyone who enters the nation. And if you find out that the temperature is above a certain normal, I think 37.8 or so, that person is quarantined or pulled aside for further discussions and so forth. So the same measures were applied to the Ghanaians who were allowed to come in. In addition, per the directive once again, we told people, we advised people to self-quarantine themselves for 14 days. For example, if you were traveling, if you were coming to the country and you know about the dangers of carrying the virus, I think if you're told that if you go home, try and stay away from other people, you should do it, because if you don't, then let's say you have it, but you're not showing signs and you infect your loved ones, I don't think you'll love it. So that word has been carried out. We spoke to everyone, we explained to them the dangers, and I think right now with all the information that has been shared from around the world, people have become aware of the dangers of the coronavirus. Look at what is happening in France. The country has basically shut itself out from the outside world. And so we believe that the information that we gave to between us, Port Health, Ghana Airports Company, Immigration, Customs, we gave to our fellow citizens and people residing in the country will be followed when they go home.
Right, and that's the MD of the Ghana Airport Company speaking there with my colleague Sheila Tamaklo.
Okay.
So we're also learning that apart from these restrictions and people being turned away, we're also learning that some of the airlines themselves are actually suspending their flights.
Yeah, that's true. So today, for instance, we've received 2 emails, and one from Emirates and the other from Brussels there. So effective 21st of this month, that's March, these 2 airlines have suspended flights to and from Accra. So passengers are being advised to actually go back to their travel agents or wherever they got their tickets to, make the necessary arrangements. And even though under these circumstances, normally when you are trying to change your flight date, you have to pay a certain fee. This time around, there have been waivers for all of this.
Okay.
Exactly. So you don't have to pay any fee to make those changes.
All right. So apart from the cancellation of the flights, we also know that all this is impacting on operations generally, because there are other airlines and other services who are going to be affected. I can imagine that our Africa World, for instance, will be affected because they have this arrangement with Emirates.
Yeah, so I actually interacted with Africa World Air today, and they actually indicated for their regional flights, they are going to slash down their flight frequency by 45%. And for the domestic one, they are going to do 20%, because internally we can still move. But with the regional, there's a problem because they have a lot of interline agreements with these other bigger airlines, which come from the European countries. So that is going to impact them heavily. Nonetheless, they are putting in place cost-cutting measures so that they can mitigate the financials. So today, for instance, when you walk into their office, they are working with a very lean staff. Most of them have been asked to take leave for the meantime whilst they still work. We also interacted with KLM, who is also about to slash their flight frequency by 70 to 90%. I mean, it's almost the entire fleet there. So the impact has been great. And even with our revenues, the Director General is already projecting about 20% dip in our revenues from the airport.
Right, thank you very much, Sheila Tamaklo, essentially our aviation correspondent here at Multimedia. Meanwhile, the Menchia Palace has suspended its major traditional ceremonies as a precautionary measure against the spread of coronavirus. The Asante has also directed the closure of the Menchia Palace Museum. Lava Firm's Erastus Asaridonko brings us the details.
Like a roaring lion, the coronavirus has entered the Ghanaian community, putting a scare to many. But authorities have stepped up measures to try to control its spread. Here, at the seat of Asanteman, the Menchia Palace, a lot of measures have gone in place to try to control the spread of the disease. Behind me is the Menchia Palace Museum. On a Tuesday like this, you will find all manner of people, foreigners from different countries, our own people coming in to enjoy the rich history of the Ashantis. But today, it is empty and silent because the place has been closed down temporarily because of the coronavirus scare. Visitors to Menchia Palace go through compulsory and controlled screening at the gate before they are allowed entry. On a busy day like today, the palace doesn't have its usual thronging of visitors and courtesy calls. It is because of new measures put in place on the orders of the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II to have all traditional ceremonies that attract large numbers of people put on hold. Marehene Bafo Shiaman Brintu, who is a member of the Metro Health Committee on COVID-19, spoke to Love News.
In that the public ones have been, suspended for the meantime. And
what are these? Can you take us through them?
Which one? The public one, main one will be the Ukude and the Akwasidai. They are activities that normally, attract people from the outside to come. The first part is also a private event, but the second part is normally a public one, and that has been suspended. And additionally, we do certain rites on the Mondays after Akweside and the Thursdays after Okude. All those are going on, but not with public participation. Normally, people come to support what we are doing, but now, all those, we wouldn't allow the public to be in there.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
Well, Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Patrick Yaw-Boamah, has assured adequate water supply at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital for medical care and prevention in the wake of the coronavirus. The minister addressed the media after a tour of the hospital on Tuesday. Patrick Boamah stressed that government preventive measures will be futile without adequate water supply. PSA Naya Asafo has more in the following report.
The nation waited 2 weeks ago as at this very facility, the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital maternal block, which you can see behind me, we had one of our first suspected coronavirus cases of a US-based Ghanaian who had returned home and has started to show signs of high feverishness. That turned out to be negative from results we got from the Noguchi facility. Now here, 5 days after Ghana has confirmed its first positive cases, Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Patrick Yaw-Boamah, has been here at the facility inspecting the availability of water and to see how strong and prepared the hospital is in the wake of any such situation.
For the past almost a week now.
We are satisfied with what we've seen so far and the measures that the Accra West area manager has put in place with his competent team towards free flow of water to the Korle Bu facility. They've decided to add another line to increase or to be a backup for the water intake into the reservoir. All the polytanks we inspected, or the underground reservoir, are in good shape. We all have to play our roles to ensure that we keep the facility safe and in good position for any, God forbid, eventuality. I'm here. The Deputy Minister Jato went to Tema General Hospital. The Honorable Minister herself, Honorable Cecilia Abunadapa, went to the Ridge Hospital to assess the situation with regards to water. Because without water, all the measures that we are putting in place will come to nothing. So we are being proactive and supporting the President's call, not to sit in our offices, but to also ensure that the health facilities and the water supply situation are in good shape.
Head of Public Relations at the hospital, Mustafa Salifo, said water supply at the facility had improved considerably over the past few days, a necessary factor to facilitate hand washing and other medical purposes.
And we hope and pray that it will sustain, that it will keep that way, because in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, water is critical in fighting this the pandemic, and then I'm sure that is why Ghana Water has ramped up its activities and then the supply of water to the hospital.
He also spoke on actions being taken to protect visitors and patients alike.
We have our structures in place. Anybody who enters the facility, if there is a need for you to wash your hands, water is running, you can wash your hands. We also have other services like the hand sanitizers at various points. We are screening everybody that comes in the department. If there's a need for them to use water for anything, water is running and they can use that.
Authorities tell us that they are yet to record another suspected case since the previous one on 5th March 2020. In the meanwhile, we are told that water and other facilities are readily available, as well as medical staff and training for any other case that may arise here at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, which happens to be the third largest hospital on the African continent. PSA Nana Yaw-Safo, Joy News.
The Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has been deserted since Monday. It follows the President's directive for schools to be shut down over the coronavirus outbreak. Joining us, Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin has been finding out what it means to some of the students who are still on campus.
First year MPhil student Bruce Christopher Konu. Bruce had been preparing to end his last semester and prepare for his thesis. We met Bruce on campus working on his projects. He says going home is not an option for him.
For me, going home is not an option now. I just have to stay behind and continue working on my projects. Because already some of the projects, we have a delay in some of the projects that I'm working on because of the outbreak in general. So and now that China, like the kind of things we import, and then there is so much delay in them. Now, so if that 4 weeks, I think going home is not an option for me. I have to stay and then keep working on my projects. I'm not going home.
Bruce says the directive by the government had been long overdue.
It's closing down the school. It's one of the best decisions that the president has taken because of the way things are going. I think that's one of the best decisions. But then I wish, other countries also did the same thing. They closed down their school, but there were systems that were in place. I mean, for countries like advanced countries like Italy, US, they've closed down institutions, but there were other alternatives provided. Like, I'm not worried because schools are closed down to contain the spread of the virus, but it's because we don't have such system. It's not everybody has internet access whilst they're at home. I mean, it's good for some people, but not even every student have that kind of maybe online video conferencing facility, and it's a genuine excuse. So.
Have you been speaking to your friends? I mean, your colleague students who are also here, and what are they saying?
It's a kind of like mixed feelings. Some people wanted to go home, and some people are already like packed and going. So it's just something I can't explain. Everybody have their own view of it. Some of them, they welcome it as a good news. Going home is like as a good news, but some of them are also not happy about it. You can see some of them are still around.
Have you heard from your family?
Yeah. I've been in constant contact.
Authorities of the Kumasi Central Prisons have instituted strict protocols to restrain internal and external face-to-face contact with inmates. It forms part of measures to protect prisoners and personnel against potential infections, coronavirus infections at the congested facility. Built in 1901, initially to house only 600 inmates, the now overstretched prison is home to over 2,000. My colleague Ohim Intuye of our health desk visited the Kumasi Central Prison and has come through with this report.
Personnel, inmates and visitors to the Kumasi Central Prisons must first wash their hands and apply sanitizers before having their temperatures checked. The routine procedure is also available at the already congested cells where inmates are banned from coming into direct contact with visitors. The stringent measures include a ban on group religious activities. Inmates, irrespective of their faith, have been instructed to pray individually. The measures come as Ghana records 6 imported coronavirus cases.
The numbers in here is not a small number. I go to other places, they're about 300, 400, 500, but we have almost 2,000. And looking at where we are, like the center of the country. So if you are discharged here, some will go to Accra, go to the north, we are in the middle. So you can imagine somebody should get it from here and go out there. You either spread it to the south or spread it to the north. So we are at a vantage point that we need to protect ourselves, and I think we've done that as a station. Anybody coming to the prison, whether you're a policeman, an officer or a visitor, whoever is coming in, we make sure you use the water with the soap as well as the sanitizer before you come in. All the inmates coming into the prison are also screened. We take them through, we have this, the gun, thermometer, they use to screen you to check whether your temperature is within the a specified range. And there's also another directive that we should suspend remands and trial inmates that we send to court. So with that directives, no officer is sending any trial inmate to court, and the police have also been directed to hold on with coming in for the remand prisoners.
Authorities are satisfied at the level of cooperation from inmates, including those on remand and trial, whose hearing in the courts has been suspended. They say the arrangement is enough to prevent coronavirus being recorded at the facility.
They know it's for their own good. For instance, with the issue of suspending trial prisoners going to court, initially we thought they will have a problem with it because it's a trial prisoner. He wants the case to be done with so that he will know his fate. But when the issue was, when we informed them, we noticed they are happy with it, but they themselves know their life is at stake. So whatever measures you are putting in place is for their own good, and they've taken it. There's no tension in the yard. They've taken it in good faith, and other things that we've educated them, they are doing it accordingly. Officers have been given enough education. Just this morning, our regional commander distributed sanitizers to almost all the officers, and even within the yard, we've isolated certain areas. In case of anything, at least we will send a person there within a week or two, while the medical team will study the person to be sure that the person is not having any virus, probably just an ordinary flu. So there are isolation centers as well in the yard. We are already prepared. We are not hoping anything like that comes, but if it comes, I think we put measures in place to contain it.
Provision of Veronica Bacchus, sanitizers, thermometer guns, among others, is however putting a strain on scarce resources. Chief Superintendent Ewame appeals for public and corporate support to procure more of the materials for a sustained fight.
Financially, there's a burden on the regional commander because, as I said this morning, he supplied every office with sanitizer. You go around the blocks, you see the Veronica bucket and all that. The burden is on him, and then officers are also extra careful with other things. So I think there's a burden on the station as it is, but we'll be able to contain it.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimi Ntebia reporting.
The Ghanaian architect alleged to be involved in a plot masterminded by some Russians to meddle in upcoming elections in the USA has been charged with money laundering. Seth Redu was mentioned in a CNN investigative piece to be using social media accounts on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram to urge Americans to vote for third-party candidates or sit out of the election entirely. Joseph Akable was in court as state prosecutors pressed charges. Here's his report.
Seth, hi. Yeah. My name's Clarissa Ward. I work for CNN.
Hey.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine.
I just had a couple of questions for you about Ebola.
Okay.
And why you posted this job in the U.S. in Charleston, South Carolina?
Oh, but it's actually so strange for someone to come and ask you about EVLA right now, so I don't know how much I can be of help to you.
You're aware that there's a presidential election in November?
No.
You're not aware of that?
I know there's one in Ghana.
How long have you been working for the IRA, for the troll factory?
What troll factory?
In St. Petersburg, Russia. So,
well, I don't know what IRA is, so I can't say that I'm working for IRA.
So why do you call yourself Mr. Amara and say that you're South African?
I just think it's my own personal something. Everyone can call themselves anything that they want. Anyone can transform it into whatever they want.
Excerpts of the CNN documentary capturing Seth Redu. He's alleged to have created social media accounts in Ghana which were consistently coordinated, posting on the same topic within hours of each other. Instagram accounts appear to have done especially well. The most popular Instagram account built a following of more than 25,000, 3 times its Twitter audience, the CNN reported. Documents filed by Ghanaian prosecutors at the circuit court indicate that Mr. Redu, who is resident in Novgorod, Russia, had been engaging in online cybercrime and transferring various sums into Ghana. These are monies he's alleged to have obtained through cybercrimes. They indicate that he failed to justify an amount of 82,443 cedis which he transferred to Ghana over a short period. This forms the basis of the state's case against him.
Africa Company Limited has opened a new showroom in Kumasi to serve customers and clients in the northern sector of the country. Officials of the decor and furnishing firm say its presence in the Ashanti region is part of a long-term plan to bring products and services closer to users. Owner of Africa, Mohammed, spoke with Joy News at the ceremony.
In short, I just want to introduce our new company. Actually, we are a couple of companies working under the name of Africa to deal with everything concerning building material. So it's just a start. We start with some items. Let's say, from tiles to gypsum boards to lighting to AC, and more to come. I promise Kumasi that more to come. Anything related to your construction or to your building, you are going to find in Africa. So you are welcome again in Africa, and I hope this business will grow with your support.
Africa and its partners also provide natural stone fabrications produced locally. Partner Chief Executive of the Stone Depot, Elias Sage, said some of the products are of international standards are made from local materials.
Africa has given us the opportunity for us to distribute our products here in Kumasi, making it readily available to everybody. We are a natural stone fabrication company. We deal in marble, granite, and engineered quartz. Our factory is in Accra, and currently we serve all the regions in Ghana, but the concentration has really been on the Greater Accra region. So this time, what we want to do is concentrate a little bit on Kumasi, thereby making our products available. We'll do material availability, service availability, so there will be installation. All our products are made in Ghana. We buy large slabs of marble, and we fabricate kitchen tops, staircases, bathroom vanities. We do a lot of flooring, we do wall cladding, we do some tombs, altars. There's a lot of design work that we do with stone.
Stakeholders and players in the building industry attended the showroom opening. Metro Director of Urban Roads, Engineer Nana Poku, believes Africa's presence in Kumasi is a boost to the local economy.
One-stop shop, as I indicated in my earlier remarks prior to the opening of the shop. Of course, I'm a civil engineer. I'm in the road sector now. My capacity as the Director of Urban Roads in Kumasi. But of course, they are here to complement the work of architects and structural engineers, because when you do a building, you need these things to what we call the furnishings, because everything here from sanitary to tiles to lighting, they go a long way to complement the structures or the buildings that we have. So it gives me great hope and pleasure that we have a one-stop shop like this in Kumasi, and that will also propel the building industry to great heights. So I'm very happy that we have something like it. It's going to complement, it's going to create jobs, and it's also going to improve the socio-economic well-being of the city. Once jobs are created, people can fend for their families, and it helps and improves the socio-economic well-being of the city.
Anything you want to add finally?
What I would want to say is that, I said it earlier, we need to patronize the shop, because once shops are created, jobs are created.
And we're taking a break to bring you more business.
Hello again, and time to do more business news. My name is Sandra Esinam Apeno. As part of its contribution to help combat the coronavirus outbreak in Ghana, Enterprise Group has extended some support to the Ghana Health Service, Noguchi Memorial Institute, and the Rich Hospital. These are in form of cash donations and a life insurance policy. According to Chief Financial Officer of Enterprise Insurance, Daniel Labiteku, fervent actions need to be taken to manage the spread of the virus in the country.
The nature and spread of the coronavirus places a responsibility on all individuals and corporate bodies to help in the fight against the spread of the virus. Chief Financial Officer of Enterprise Insurance, Daniel Labiteku, says this is having a negative impact on human health across the continent and needs urgent attention.
We have put in place life insurance cover for the Ghana Health Services, for all their frontline staff, including doctors, nurses, and all other support staff who help to manage the pandemic. A life insurance cover to the tune of 20 million, which should cover at least 2,000 beneficiaries. In addition to that, we also supported Noguchi Memorial Institute with a cash of 60,000 to support in the procurement of testing equipment, testing materials. And finally, we're also supporting the Rich Hospital, who are our neighbors here, with 40,000 to also procure consumables to help manage patients who will be referred to them.
He added that Enterprise Group has taken some precautionary measures to ensure the safety of its workers and clients. He said for now, clients are encouraged to use their online platform to limit physical contact.
Yes, we encourage them to minimize physical visit to our centers and make use of our online platforms, our USSD platforms that are effective in communicating with us. The online platforms are user-friendly for all customers. All you need is to download, and I believe a lot of our customers have downloaded the app, and it's an interactive platform that you can engage with and seek any information, clarification that you need on your policy.
Mr. Tieku then called on other organizations to help support the healthcare system to help combat the disease. Alberta BCU for Joy Business.
News tonight, Managing Director of Puma Energy Ghana, Henry Osei, has rejected claims the petroleum price deregulation policy is not serving the purpose for which it was introduced. A section of the public, including some policy think tanks, have criticized the deregulation of the petroleum sector, saying it has so far not benefited Ghanaians. But speaking to Joy Business at the Puma's Retail Conference and Awards organized at Akosombo in the Eastern region, Mr. Osei said Puma Energy has so far adhered to regulatory requirements and has given off moderate prices at the pumps.
In 2015, government took a policy decision to deregulate the pricing of petroleum products in a bid to rationalize petroleum pricing. However, this has been met with some criticisms, including concerns that the policy's intended purpose had been defeated. But speaking to Joy Business, the managing director of Puma Energy Ghana, Henry Osei, is however of the view the policy is gradually yielding the desired results.
The call for fuel prices to be drastically reduced is as a result of the world market price. How justified this is, the entire market will realize when the window starts. What you ought to realize, though, is that beyond just the world market price, our fuel at the pump is influenced heavily by taxes. So there are several varying factors that affect fuel prices. I am an ardent supporter and believer of price deregulation. I am an ardent believer of the market forces, and I believe that experience, competence, and efficiency should be allowed to drive. And that is what deregulation gives you. With deregulation, the efficiency and the operational excellence will differentiate you from the rest of the market. And that's what Puma stands for.
This year's conference was on the theme, Commitment to Excellence. Various outlets and dealers were recognized for their immense contribution and support to the company. They include John Yeboah of the Ebuakwa Macro Outlet, emerging the overall dealer of the year. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Yeboah urged various oil marketing companies to desist from shortchanging consumers at the pumps. Head of Marketing and Corporate Affairs of Puma Energy Ghana, Selassie Tete, says the event forms part of Puma Energy's mandate to foster development opportunities and reward the exceptional performance of its employees and partners.
As we journey along, we need to pat their backs on the good jobs that they've been doing. So this is what it means to Puma Energy, to award them, is to urge them on that indeed they are doing great, we appreciate them, and that kudos. Keep making sure that we are in business because of them and they are in business because of us.
The overall winner, John Yeboah, received a cash prize of $5,000. Other winners also received some cash prizes ranging between $500 and $2,500. Bismarck Awusa's report for Joy Business.
Happy customers, time now to check trading activities on the commodity markets. And crude oil is still struggling, selling today at $29.55 a barrel. More details in the commodity news update. that note, I'll say thank you so much for watching Business. My name is Sandra Esinam Apen. For more business news updates, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. After the break, we do have sports news.
Thank you for staying with us on the Joy News Prime Time. Now for the sport, I'm Gary Al Smith. We begin with some para-athlete news. And Bocho Nkegbe and Aisha Seidu are two outstanding para-athletes. Last month, they both won gold in the OCC Marathon Championships in South Africa. But what has life been for them? Joy Sports Muftau Nabila Abdullahi paid them a visit.
Growing up, Bocho Nkegbe, Aisha Seidu, and Yakuba Abukari, just like any other Ghanaian child, had their dreams. But when they turned 6, 3, and 4 years respectively, those dreams turned into a nightmare as their lives changed forever. They were visited by the deadly polio, rendering them physically impaired forever. In a society where physically impaired people are seen as destitute, sports became the only option to change the narrative. All three, who are para-athletes, have flown high the flag of Ghana in international competitions ranging from the Olympics to the OCC Marathon. Bocho is an Olympian. Aisha won gold in the 42-kilometer race in South Africa last month, whilst Yakubu was at the 2015 All-Africa Games in Congo-Brazzaville. These successes are enough encouragement for these athletes. But why would they choose such a difficult discipline? Aisha says she needed to take her destiny into her own hands and found this as a comforter when her world deserted her.
I joined Parasports, that was 2013. I joined Parasports. I was in Nalirgu and I moved to Tamale for the sake of, I was trying to carry my own destiny into my own hand. So I decided to move from Nalirgu to Tamale. Because where I was coming from, even though the family has not discriminated me, but some kind of life is going through the family. But me personally, it's like if I fold my hands, I can't say any, or I can't make any decision in the family. And it's like I don't know how I'm going to.
Were you hurt? That's why you left home?
Yeah, I was hurt. I say, no, if that is the case, then let me also find my way somewhere and live my life. Because in the household like this, where even though they can provide the meat, but if I don't like the meat and I don't have alternative, I'll force myself to eat what they provide, even though I don't have appetite.
She adds, choosing to be a para-athlete has become a blessing to her, and she wants that man who appreciates her.
In the society we live in, you have to have someone you can who appreciates you. Yes, because in society some people think that if you are a disabled, you can't give birth or you can't marry. That's some of the public perceptions. So that is why I want to use my challenge and fight for that.
Bocho Nkegbe had wanted to be an engineer if polio had not incapacitated him.
Growing up, I was more creative. I was more like somebody was trying to pursue engineer career because I used my hand to do so many things. I remember in school when anytime they said crafts, I always bring out some the things and put it together to make car or make something. So growing up in school, that's what I thought I would be, but only God who can discern my destiny. And this here I am now. There's no those career and now sports career have dominated, but I'm also pushing my kids. Any career they want to go in, I'm still pushing them to. So one of them to become engineer, as I dream of.
There are 1,001 people who are on the streets begging for survival, but these three have decided that despite being physically impaired, they say disability is not inability, and life is what you make of it. For Joy Sports, I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
Great to have a non-COVID-19 story leading our bulletin, isn't it? Anyway, now let's go to COVID-19. 11 Wonders FCI, Ghana Premier League club, and they've taken steps to prevent the disease from visiting them. And yesterday I spoke to Albert Kome, who is the CEO of the Techiman-based club.
Affecting the is understatement, you know, because this pandemic.
The second window for the registration is open today. Does that mean that we have to let the players go, or what plans do we have? The new players that we want to do in terms of addition, what are we going to do about it? So we've been able to talk about it, and then the doctors have advised and as to what we have to do in order to make sure that at least we stay safe. We also have to make sure that at least whoever that comes in is checked and protected well before. So it depends on the club, and it depends on whatever that you want to do, and then the geographical area. And so for me, it's very, very important that we take one step ahead of every situation.
That was regulation time. There'll be no extra time in this bulletin. I'm Gary Al Smith with the full-time score.
So Joy News Interactive, and it has to do with the power outage that was experienced or has been experienced in the last few days, and the consumers are demanding a schedule because they say it's affecting their business. We have 20 comments on this one and 12 shares, and we have Shabata says, yes, Dumso is back. Let those who said we have the men come and tell us something different. And Pilari says, we do look for someone to rule. You said Nana or Mahama. I put misplaced priorities in Kwan, carrying stones for playing inside from other countries. And someone says, well, lazy journalists, go to ECG and VR and ask what is happening and refrain from asking people who don't work in those areas. So you don't think that the people deserve a hearing? Really? Samuel Deku? All right. AC says, please understand ECG. They want to confuse Oga Corona. It can't see in the dark. Young says, you fear lights out to coronavirus. We have been living with lights out since the 90s. Kwam says, every day pray, today pray, tomorrow pray. I've been saying the education minister is Zuku, but this energy minister, Chai Chai. And Edward says, is back rough. I'm in Kumasi yesterday, Dumso in Kwan. All right, so those are some of your comments, but I'm quite surprised that Samuel Deku thinks that what we're doing is lazy journalism. We're giving a voice to the people and giving them an opportunity to say how they feel about the situation. And let's hear their complaints. But of course, we've also talked about what Greco has been saying about the power outage. All right, let's go to the next issue. So Chinese billionaire and co-founder of Alibaba, Jack Ma, says he will donate mask test kits and protective suits to all countries in Africa to help the continent in its fight against the novel coronavirus. Mass Foundation will donate a total of 1.1 million testing kits, 6 million masks, and 60,000 protective suits and face shields. And we have 78 comments in 26 shares. And Rita says, so how stupid do these whites think we are? COVID-19 was in the first place meant to come and depopulate Africa, but the table turned. Really? Where's this also coming from? Michael says, we would fight our own battle. Thanks for your concern. Anyway, seriously? You want to refuse the donation? All right. That'll be it for Joy News Interactive, and that'll be it for the bulletin. I'm Mr. Live. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night.